Hello to Two's Company. By shortly, today we have a very interesting scholar and professor of English literature with us, and a very dear friend of mine, Munas Azad. And he's been teaching at Karachi University since 2008. That's many years, and he has a double master in philosophy and literature. Not just that, he has an MPhil and PhD in literature as well. And I believe his thesis was on the concept of love in Samuel Beckett. And he's interested in psychoanalysis, philosophy, and literature. So welcome, Munas. Welcome to our
Thank you.
show.
Yeah.
So let me just start with your life choices. You've dedicated your life to the pursuit of humanities, be it philosophy or psychoanalysis or literature. So why didn't a corporate lifestyle appeal to you?
So I think initially it was all coincidence because मुझे तो पता भी नहीं था कि humanities और ये सारी चीज़ें. But eventually, I, especially because of my friends and my teachers, I started enjoying. I started looking at things that way. I'm not sure exactly why I did not go to the corporate sector. Maybe because there was this sense of freedom in the humanities that wasn't there. So उस ज़माने में it mattered a lot, freedom.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes freedom matters more, sometimes money matters more. But
उस
at
ज़माने
that
में.
time, हाँ.
So अब कभी दिल चाहता है कि काश corporate lifestyle होती और money matters more.
I do sometimes think about it, but I would never seriously consider it because considering जो हालात हो गए हैं, I don't think even corporate jobs, unless you have a really high position, I mean, nobody's happy these days. So I'm fine where I am, I guess.
Nobody's happy. Why do you say that?
Just looking at, the inflation all over the world and, the kind of administrators we have, things don't look like, and, just generally, if you listen to people on social media or anywhere, just nobody's really, the future doesn't seem like, somebody's coming to help us.
Yeah. I remember like one of my nieces, one day when she could not speak a lot of language and she had limited vocabulary. So she was trying to express that she's not happy she's not content or usko kuch acha nahi lagata. So all she could say was like, I'm not happy. That's the only words she could get. It makes me think of that. Acha, tell me, so while many of us pursued MPhil, that's where I met Munas at Karachi University, और हम सब MPhil पढ़ रहे थे और किसी ने भी thesis complete नहीं किया, and Munas was the only person who went all the way to finish the thesis, and also I think the only person I know who at that time who completed his PhD in literature. Did that change the way others perceived you?
I don't think so. I never felt any different. Maybe. I hope not. Like I can't always tell. Like it's difficult to tell. And I really rely on friends not to change their perception because of like a certain failure or a certain achievement I have made. So it kind of.
You speak about friends. Like what is friendship to you?
I don't know. Such a difficult question. I guess figuring out whether or not you can deal with this person and you feel like they can deal with you, and you can enjoy each other's company. I mean, there are different kinds of friendships. Some friendships are based on certain interests.
Right.
But that, of course, is friendship. But then also further than that, just getting to know a person and, being comfortable with them as a whole.
Right. And also, as you said, somebody who will not leave you just for a success or a failure, or just know you as a person in your entirety.
Yeah.
Um, I want to stay with the topic of the PhD, like because I think people would be curious ke PhD ka chakkar kya hai, and what advice would you give to interested people if they want to pursue something like a PhD in literature or in any other field? Should they go for it? Is this something viable?
Yeah, I mean, so the thing I learned in university, I think that's the only really important thing I learned was the way we perceive universities is kind of twisted. We think it's like a place where you become an expert in a subject, you get to know, get a degree, you go into the professional field. But what I learned was universities, since the beginning, in any form they existed in ancient societies even, they were places where people were paid to read and think and then come up with solutions to problems that society can't solve itself. Right? So, for example, if there's a problem with the roads or there's a problem with, I don't know, the economic system, so you have experts to fix that, right? But then there are certain social problems, particularly in the social sciences. So let's say, I don't know, society is afraid there's a change in culture, let's say there's a change in values. Which expert do you go to talk about a change is happening, people are thinking differently, they're feeling differently about lifestyles and aims and objectives, and if that's a crisis, who do you ask what to do about it? Why is it happening? How do you solve it? Or is it a problem at all? So I think this is what universities are for. We really need to ask the changes that are happening or the problems that are emerging, especially in terms of social relations and values. You need people to think about them and explain what we can do, give suggestions. So PhD is just one formal procedure of doing this.
Right. So bringing that insight to people, like think tanks or...
Yeah, it's like think tanks, yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. Did you always know that this is what you wanted to pursue? I know we touched upon this earlier, but I'm just curious that as a child along the way, did you want to ever become something else? As a child, as a memory?
Yeah, yes, I never knew what I wanted to become. So like every few years, I wanted to become something else. I remember the first thing I really wanted to become was I watched Jurassic Park back in the 90s. And I wanted to become that, whatever, the dinosaur ke doctor jo bhi hote hain, I don't know.
So aap different kisam ke doctor ban gaye.
Yeah. So, but eventually, I think it's more about the people you meet.
Okay.
If you and I've heard a lot of people, students especially, say they only chose the subjects they wanted to study in university because of some teacher at school who inspired them. So my inspiring teachers were in university after I entered university. So it's always someone, I think.
So university is a place you can meet potentially teachers and interesting people like that. How about now? Once we were talking and you mentioned you were interested in film direction. So would you pursue something like that now? Like drop everything that you're doing right now and go into something completely different?
Right. So, of course, I can't do that right now because, profession and taking care of family and stuff. But yes, I think that would be one thing I would like to do. I think film is, for me, the most complex, but also the most condensed. It's the most holistic form of art that exists today. It has everything. It has music, it has drama, it has writing, everything.
Yeah, visuals and... Okay, so you teach psychoanalysis, you have a deep interest in it. So for those of us who don't know, what is psychoanalysis? Is it like hypnosis? And what is it doing in the humanities department? Like, we don't expect it there. Isn't it a science thing? Could you tell us about that?
Right. Freud, who invented psychoanalysis, intended it to be a science, but scientists never, because the idea is what we're studying are words, and scientific objects are usually empirical, right? And Freud could not convince anyone, no one could, that words are empirical objects that should be scientifically studied, not in terms of the sounds they make or the meanings, but in terms of the effect they have on us as people and our social relations and society as such. So people who agree with Freud, they're interested in words basically, and what they do to human beings and their lives and their societies. And for this is not empirical enough for science.
Okay.
Like, how do you test that, right?
Right.
So it ends up being taught in the humanities
Okay.
or social sciences.
Okay. And like psychoanalysis, is it something you practice? I remember once a teacher said it's like you are a text is the illness, and you are kind of becoming a doctor, and you're going to psychoanalyze the text. Is it something like that, or I mean, hypnosis comes to mind. What would you say to that?
So first thing, though, psychoanalysis is different from therapy and other forms of psychology, in the sense that it's not just the analyst, the doctor who's treating a patient. It's actually the patient themselves self-analyzing.
Okay.
So psychoanalysis is mostly done by the patient
Got it.
on himself, right?
Okay.
Because the analyst can't know why you said certain words unless the patient tells
Right.
or comes up with an interpretation of what this meant. And it's only that interpretation which counts.
Okay. So is it analysis of behavior as well, or is it just analysis of words?
It's the analysis of words, but even behavior can be words. So when Freud was interested in dreams, he wasn't just interested in dreams, what we were seeing while we were dreaming. He was interested in what we narrate after we've dreamt.
Okay.
And that,
How we tell the story.
Yeah, how we tell the story.
Interesting. Another topic that I was thinking of asking you about is there's a debate over theory and practice. You know, that one thing doesn't automatically imply the other, that there's a difference. What are your views on that?
I don't have a conclusive answer on that. I asked this to many people. One of my professors abroad, who I email a lot, he himself, I think what I understand is these aren't two different things as such. I mean, obviously, there's thinking before you act, you do something, and then that is practice. What you thought about was the theory. But when do you just act? I mean, you can't begin doing stuff without having some conception of what is it that you're going towards.
Okay.
If you move towards something or away from something. So what causes the movement? And I think at this very fundamental level, very primordial level, we can't get rid of theory. We are, because we speak, because we're in language, we're always in theory.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be conscious always. We do a lot of things not knowing why we are doing them, but later we find out, oh, I did this because I had these conceptions or suppositions. So we're already theoretical. Human beings are pervaded by theory. They can't, it's inevitable.
So it's interlinked, always interlinked.
Yeah.
The first time I met Munas, the first time we met, we were at Karachi University. And I think it was the year 2016, roundabout. And I was taking this class with Sir Faisal, and Munas started sitting in it. And we would discuss various things that we were studying. एंड एट दैट टाइम हम लोग सब बहुत कोशिश कर रहे थे कि हमें एक एमफिल की थीसिस मिल जाए, हमें कुछ समझ आ जाए उसके बारे में. एंड मोस्ट ऑफ अस नेवर परसूड द थीसिस, एंड मुनिस ने एक्चुअली कंप्लीट किया. एंड ही did his, what was your MPhil thesis on?
Melville's Bartleby.
Melville's Bartleby, which is a very interesting short story, जिसमें वो कहता है I prefer not to. एंड मुझे भी कभी कभी लगता है कि ज़िंदगी में यही कहना चाहिए कि आई प्रेफर नॉट टू many things. So that's the repeated thing that he keeps saying. What was so fascinating about that? Why did you choose that? What did it mean to you?
So something's really fascinating about effacement. कोई चीज़ माइनस होती रहती है ना, मुझे पता नहीं क्यों फैसिनेटिंग लगती है. लाइक इवेपोरेशन है, या कोई चीज़ अपने आप को विलिंगली ख़त्म कर रही है. मुझे बहुत फैसिनेट करता है, लाइक क्यों.
तो क्या रीज़न था, वो क्यों कर रहा था ये?
उसमें रीज़न नहीं है स्टोरी में, ओपन एंडेड है, यू कैन इंटरप्रेट इट. आई रोट three different interpretations by three different critics of Bartleby. I don't know who was right, but it's still fascinating. Like the story, apart from the research, apart from the answer, just someone who's accepted, they would minimize themselves to the point that they would completely efface themselves. Or even if they don't completely efface themselves, they willingly minimize themselves. I don't know why this has always fascinated me.
Acha, to me it was also like the ability to say no, and in the face of anything to be able to say कि नहीं, मुझे नहीं करना.
हाँ, but you usually say no in relation to some yes, right? आप no कर रहे हैं इसको because आपको कुछ और करना है. उसका हमें yes नहीं मिलता स्टोरी में. That's the mysterious thing about the story. He just keeps saying no. He eventually stops eating, which is strange.
He eventually stops eating. It reminds me of Hunger Artist. You like that as well.
For the same reason, yeah.
For the same reason. Could you tell us a little bit about what's fascinating to you about Kafka's Hunger Artist?
तो उसमें भी सिमिलरली वो उसका एक एक्ट होता है, वो खाना नहीं खाता बहुत दिनों तक, और वो सर्कस में उसको रखते हैं, लोग आके चेक कर रहे होते हैं कॉन्स्टेंटली कहीं चीट तो नहीं करा, बट वो वाकई में 40 दिन तक सिर्फ थोड़े से सिप्स ऑफ वाटर पे चलता है, वो खाना नहीं खाता. और बट इवेंचुअली लोग बोर हो जाते हैं, बट वो उसके बाद भी कंटिन्यू रखता है. लाइक उसका एक्ट अब कोई नहीं देख रहा, डजंट सेल, बट ही स्टिल कंटिन्यू. सो समवन आस्क्स हिम इन द स्टोरी एट द एंड, व्हाई डू यू डू दिस, व्हाई डोंट यू ईट, or how can you not eat for so many days? And he says something like, if I had found the thing that I wanted to eat or that would satisfy my hunger, I would have stuffed myself. But nothing here is worth eating. It won't satisfy me, so I'd rather stay hungry. And that made a lot of sense.
Nothing here that could satisfy. Recently I wrote 2 scenes which we are using in Fire Morning, which will be a production with Kulsoom at Arts Council soon. And उसमें मैंने एक सीन लिखा है जिसकी ट्रांसलेशन हुई है. उसमें there is a couple and she asks for a glass of water and the guy says कि ठीक है मैं ला देता हूँ. शीज़ लाइक मुझे बहुत प्यास लग रही है, मुझे पानी ही पीना है, और मैं पता नहीं सदियों से आई हैव नॉट हैड वाटर. एंड ही सेज आई विल गेट यू ग्लास ऑफ वाटर. शी सेज नो, मुझे नहीं चाहिए, आई डोंट वांट दिस ग्लास ऑफ वाटर. एंड दिस कॉन्वर्जेशन गोज बैक एंड फोर्थ टिल द पॉइंट दैट वो उठा के ग्लास फेंक देती है. एंड शी सेज यू थिंक कि मुझे ये चाहिए, मुझे ये नहीं चाहिए. एंड वी वर डिस्कसिंग कि उसमें हम एक्टर से डिस्कस कर रहे थे कि मे बी इट्स the difficulty of understanding a woman or difficulty of understanding a person. But right now when you said in the Hunger Artist कि वो उसको वो चीज़ ही नहीं मिल रही जो उसको चाहिए, it made me think of that. um, do you think जब हम लिटरेचर की फील्ड में रहते हैं और हम किताबें पढ़ते रहते हैं और हम एक लिटरेरी वर्ल्ड में रहते हैं, वी आर नॉट इन the so-called social media world, or we are in a literary world, is that a better world, or is that a better way of life, or should we be immersed in other activities and books is an outdated idea?
Depends on किससे पूछ रहे हैं आप. A lot of people would answer according to what they are, what they prefer. But I think literature में एक चीज़ हम सीखते हैं कि there is no non-literary world, in the sense के ये हमें लगता है ये फिक्शन है जो हम पढ़ रहे हैं, कहानियाँ हैं महज, और बाकी रियल इम्पोर्टेंट चीज़ें हैं, रियलिटी है. हम कहते हैं ना, वो दुनिया में वापस आ जाओ, रियलिटी में वापस आ जाओ. तो आई थिंक रियलिटी itself is just a fiction that we have forgotten, or we don't want to see it as fiction. It's something we collectively believe in so much that it seems more than fiction, it seems real. पहले ज़माने में हम पढ़ते थे स्कूल में कि बार्टर सिस्टम होता था, पैसे नहीं होते थे, तो चीज़ें जो एक्सचेंज होती थी उससे सरवाइव करते थे लोग. अब आज आपके पास चीज़ें हों और पैसे ना हों तो आप कुछ नहीं कर सकते. तो ये हाउ डिड एक्चुअल थिंग्स विच हेल्प यू सर्वाइव become meaningless or less important than money, which will actually get you to buy and sell those things. Without money you can't do either of that. So who decides ये money important ज़्यादा होगा या चीज़ें important ज़्यादा होंगी? ये कैसे चेंज आया? आज पैसा हमें इतना रियल लगता है, इसकी वैल्यू क्या होती है? वही होती है जो मार्केट में एक्सचेंज वैल्यू होती है. पाकिस्तानी रुपये की कितनी वैल्यू है, आप मार्केट में जाएंगे, कंपेयर करेंगे डॉलर से, तो आपको पता चलेगा. तो ये सब क्या है, ये कहानी कहाँ से शुरू हुई?
So आप उसको you're bringing it to a fictional reality is also real. Is that what you're also saying?
I'm saying the opposite. I'm saying reality is equally fictional.
Reality is equally fictional. Okay, so we are constantly in a story that we are narrating to ourselves. Okay, that's interesting.
Collective stories become reality.
Your thesis on the concept of love in Samuel Beckett, why would you choose a topic like love, and why did it appear in the works of Samuel Beckett?
So first, I was in love and I couldn't figure out ये क्या हुआ है. Like, I could never understand, and since then I had been trying to figure out ये kya, because it's unlike anything else, right? It's like you can be obsessed with stuff, you can go mad for, I don't know, आपका कोई goal हो, कोई objective हो, आप love is, it just, I don't know, experience उसका कुछ different होता है, which I also found similar in Hunger Artist and Bartleby.
How so?
It's sort of, you don't mind minimizing yourself in love. You sort of efface होते जाते हैं आप आहिस्ता आहिस्ता. इसीलिए मेरा ख्याल से लोग डरते भी हैं. I mean, celebrate होता है love, but if someone's really in love, they know कि कोई ये आसान बात नहीं है, बहुत मुश्किल टाइम होता है. तो because I don't know, it feels like love demands that you minimize yourself in order to stay in love. And some people are able to do it better than others. And I think Hunger Artist में और Bartleby में,
You say कि love में डर लगता है, or it is not easy. It's a difficult thing, but it's something in Hallmark cards or in Valentine cards. It's celebrated and it's something everybody goes for. It's not something that they would turn away from. So why do you, I'm curious about why you're saying that.
But this is everything ना, हर चीज़ का एक spirit होता है और फिर उसका एक formal सा उसका एक practice ritual बन जाता है. So there's love and there's like love cards and love letters and love gifts and whatever. इसी तरह there's religion, there's religious spirit, and then there's this formalized version of all these rules and etc.
Organized.
Yeah, and then there's it's in everything, right? There's Marxism and then there's the Soviet state. I mean, they don't necessarily translate always. हम बहुत सारी चीज़ें in spirit अच्छी इंटेंशन से कोशिश करते हैं, they don't always translate in practice. तो ये एक आयरनी है लाइफ में ना, हम जिस वजह से चीज़ कर रहे होते हैं वो ज़रूरी नहीं वैसे वो चीज़ वैसे ही रिज़ल्ट हमें दे. तो इट हैपन्स इन लव. बहुत सारे लोग दे fall in love and they try to show that love or express that love in ways which don't always seem like this captures the spirit.
Well, the people, like, this is interesting because, you know, people fall in love and they will go for it in a different way, but you decided to do a PhD on this. You decided कि इसको समझना है और इसको theoretically समझना है और इसके अंदर. So how many years did you pursue this?
4, I think.
That's quite a long time in a scholarly world to go at it. How did the experience change you?
Oh, you mean how long I pursued the question of love?
Yeah.
तो 2008 से सोच
अच्छा.
रहा था. मैं सोच तो इस पे रहा था बिकॉज लाइक ये अजीब सा एक्सपीरियंस है. आई नेवर एक्सपीरियंस बट बिकॉज आई हैड टू डू अ PhD एंड दिस इज मोस्टली व्हाट आई वाज रीडिंग अबाउट एंड थिंकिंग अबाउट, सो आई टर्न माय PhD इनटू समथिंग आई वाज ऑलरेडी थिंकिंग अबाउट.
Did the experience of looking at love in a scholarly way change your idea of love from just experiencing it?
That's the thing. I don't have an idea of. I don't think I really have a clear idea of love. So I don't know if change हुआ कि नहीं हुआ. पहले क्या था, जो चीज़ें कॉमन है वो मैं बता सकता हूँ. लाइक वो जो इफेसमेंट वाली बात थी, मिनिमाइज करने लगते हैं आप अपने आप को. यू डोंट माइंड बीइंग मिनिमाइज्ड एंड देयर इज दिस फोकस एक आ जाता है. दिस इज इम्पॉर्टेंट, यू नीड टू रिमेंबर दिस, यू नीड टू एन्जॉय दिस, यू नीड टू. तो एक ये चीज़ होती है विच इट्स सॉर्ट ऑफ लाइक अ ड्राइव. यू कीप सर्कलिंग अराउंड दिस अननोन थिंग दैट हैज़ हैपेंड इन योर लाइफ. और बट आई डोंट नो ये सब क्या है, लाइक ये क्यों होता है. वाई डिड नेचर और गॉड, वाई डिड दे क्रिएट लव?
I mean, this is interesting. I think it would be interesting to our viewers as well that we all experience this. Everybody wants it, but you gave it 4 years an analysis of your life to study, and at the end of it, you're saying कि नहीं पता. It's like Toynbee, after writing on religion, on history for 13 years, said the world is still waiting for a new religion. So you're saying something similar कि end में नहीं पता कि mystery है कि क्या है.
So नहीं पता भी दो चीज़ें होती हैं हमेशा. एक तो होता है भाई ये हम नहीं पता कर सकते, इसको छोड़ो, and you go back to doing the way it is already done. But नहीं पता एक दूसरा भी होता है. नहीं पता होता है कि because we don't know, we sort of respectfully don't cast it away. हम उसको छोड़ नहीं दें. जो चीज़ पता नहीं ना उसको आप परसू करते हैं, बट बहुत रिस्पेक्टफुली. इस तरह नहीं कि जैसे साइंटिस्ट होते हैं ना, वो उनको पता नहीं सेंटर ऑफ द अर्थ पे क्या है या बॉटम ऑफ द ओशन पे क्या है, दे वुड जस्ट वो ड्रिल करना शुरू कर देते हैं. यू कांट ड्रिल इनटू आइडियाज़ और इनटू एक्सपीरियंसेस, बट यू कैन लाइक कीप देम विदाउट दिस एंग्जाइटी ऑफ नॉट नोइंग व्हाट दे आर. पता नहीं है क्या चीज़ हो रही है मेरे साथ, लेकिन हो रही है तो हम बेचैन हो जाते हैं. आई थिंक मिनिमाइजिंग योर सेल्फ का एक पार्ट ये है कि आप बेचैन ना हो. वो आपको नहीं पता है अभी, या शायद बाद में भी नहीं पता हो, बट यू स्टिल कीप इट बिकॉज इट्स प्रेशियस.
So in philosophy, it makes me think of like the experience and analysis debate. And so I guess you're more from the school of thought of experience, or you would say that you're more into analytical?
ये debate, I don't know, I always feel like all analysis begins with a certain experience. कोई analysis में कोई इतना ज़्यादा परसू क्यों करेगा जवाब? एनालिसिस हो गया, रिसर्च हो गई, कोई क्यों परसू कर रहा है? एक तो चलो रीज़न है भाई उसकी जॉब, करियर रिक्वायरमेंट. उसके अलावा बहुत सारे लोग ऐसे ही चीज़ें पढ़ते हैं ना. मैं यंग लोगों को देखता हूँ, लाइक यूनिवर्सिटी में नहीं भी होते, स्कूल के टाइम से दे आर लाइक लुकिंग फॉर आंसर्स. उन्हें पता नहीं क्या क्या अपनी फेवरेट चीज़ रिसर्च करी हुई है. आजकल चाइनीज़ सीख रहे हैं बच्चे एंड एट्सेट्रा एट्सेट्रा. बट लाइक व्हाट मूव्स यू टू pursue something and get to know something better? That something happened, right? Something is moving you. I think if you hold on to that which moves you. वो मेरा दोस्त जिम जाता था ना, तो वो मैं उससे पूछता था, वो काफ़ी लोग छोड़ देते हैं जिम 1-2 महीने बाद. मैं उससे पूछा था लाइक हाउ डू यू कंसिस्टेंटली कीप गोइंग. तो कहता है वहाँ जिम पे ना किसी ने लगाया हुआ था लिख के कि रिमेंबर वाई यू केम हेयर. तो जब भी आप छोड़ने का सोच रहे होते हैं ना, जैसे इसके याद करो कि तुम इसलिए आए थे, दैट रीज़न इज स्टिल देयर. आई थिंक इट्स, इफ़ यू कॉल इट एक्सपीरियंस और वट एवर, आई मीन समथिंग मूव्स यू, एंड आई थिंक analysis has to be about what moves you.
Psychoanalysis is something which is really popular these days, and people think about. I know someone who does hypnotherapy, and she has these sessions, and she takes these clients, and they go into their childhood and memories and trauma, और उसको पूरा वो analyze करते हैं, और hypnosis की techniques से करती है. So what is your approach to psychoanalysis? Have you ever psychoanalyzed someone, or has it just been about texts?
So generally कहा ही जाता है psychoanalysis can only be done by someone who is a psychoanalyst, and to be a psychoanalyst you have to be psychoanalyzed by a psychoanalyst yourself.
Okay.
So because I haven't gone through that process, I can't psychoanalyze anyone, and I think I might never, because it requires a lot of patience and listening, which I keep losing as I grow old. But psychoanalysis is different from other forms of therapy because उसमें डॉक्टर पेशेंट रिलेशन इस तरह नहीं होता कि एक के पास कोई बीमारी है और दूसरा उसको क्योर करने जा रहा है. इट्स मोर ऑफ द एनालिस्ट गिविंग क्यूज टू द पेशेंट टू एनालाइज हिमसेल्फ और हर सेल्फ. तो आप खुद जो बोल रहे होते हो, आपके जो वर्ड्स होते हैं बहुत सारे, आप सोचते भी नहीं हो बोलते हुए, उन पे गौर करने को आपको मजबूर करता है एनालिस्ट. और वो नहीं बताता कि इसकी क्या इंटरप्रिटेशन, बिकॉज एनालिस्ट को भी नहीं पता. बट देन आप जब इंटरप्रिटेशन करते हो, दैट सेज मोर अबाउट यू, एंड देन यू फाइंड आउट मोर अबाउट योर सेल्फ. सो यू से थिंग्स एंड यू इंटरप्रेट योर वर्ड्स and you find out more about yourself, and this goes on.
So I know, I mean, I've heard of psychiatrists, moving a little from this, who will just analyze a behavior of a person, or who will say, okay, what did people around him or her think about that person, and they don't really concentrate that much on, as you're saying, on self-analysis of the patient or words कि वो खुद उसको समझे. तो ये approach, what do you think about this approach? Do you agree, disagree with it, or do you think it's just a different school of thought?
It's different because उनके पास एक empirical object है ना, साइंस को empirical object चाहिए. When we act, वो थोड़ा सा ज़्यादा verifiable है. इसने ये किया, this should mean this. Your behavior, your action, etc. is more empirical and verifiable to interpret. The problem is psychoanalysis finds that patients act certain actions that they repeat, especially have a word associated or words associated with them.
Okay.
And when they become conscious of those words, sometimes they stop acting that way. They stop repeating patterns, for example.
Okay.
Or something they're not able to do this, they're able to do that then. So एक छोटा सा anecdote, if I can quote it here. तो there was this patient, वो जो Holocaust victim थी, बहुत छोटी थी उस ज़माने में, वो उसकी फैमिली भागी वहाँ से. She survived, some of her family members died फ्रांस में. And then at old age, she started having these nightmares. The Nazi police were called Gestapo. And she would come to Lacan, the psychoanalyst, and she would tell her, I had the same nightmare again. The Gestapo were trying to enter my house. The Gestapo are coming. And she had this repeated dream almost every few nights. So one day she was talking about the Gestapo are coming, and Lacan got up and he just caressed her cheek and he left. He didn't say anything. Now, because वो फ्रेंच में हो रहा था सारा, in French, if you break down the syllables Gestapo, it it becomes jest, which is like a caress. Apo, a little or a light caress. Jest, apo. And it turns out she realized what the dream, the nightmare, so-called nightmare, was actually her desire to, because her family was, उसके बहुत सारे members खो गए थे, and she had been living this lonely life as an old lady. She wanted the sense of touch more than anything. So that Gestapo became repressed into this image of the Gestapo police entering the house.
That's fascinating.
And she stopped having the dream after she realized that.
Yeah, वो खत्म हो गया.
खत्म हो गया.
I still want to stay with this a little bit more. You've studied psychoanalysis and you say you don't do it, but like कभी कभी ये नहीं होता कि आपने इतना वो पढ़ा हुआ है तो automatically हो रहा होता है, और you analyze your friends or people or society, और कि भाई इसने ये किया, इसका ये मतलब है, like एक knowledge base तो बन जाता है ना.
हाँ, you end up analyzing or interpreting certain incidents or events or actions, words. You can't give a whole analysis of a person, because that requires a lot of history and a lot of intake from, or the interpretation of the person saying those words, etc. वो तो बहुत लंबा प्रोसेस है, और वो उसमें आप बहुत गलतियाँ कर सकते हैं, because you don't really know that someone that well usually.
And sometimes people say कि psychoanalysis is not real, it's not the real deal. Do you think कि it is effective for those who do practice it?
Well, some people said Corona wasn't real. I mean, I don't know. Like मैंने तो यही पढ़ा था कि जिन लोगों ने कहा था, जो एनालिसिस से गुजरे थे, they thought it helped them. So yeah, I think. But then there are other, of course, healing techniques that people have said have helped them. I don't like, if something works for someone, I think it's okay if they stick to it.
Okay, so it could be anything. It could be anything that works for them. People, some people might like Tibetan bowls.
Yeah, sure.
And they might find music as
Right.
music is also considered क्या उसको कहते हैं, a healing,
Yeah.
or sound therapy. Sorry.
Right.
So you think all of that is not, like, for your position as a scholar, you don't think that's like pseudo activities?
No, look, I'm not interested in what helps who. Right? ठीक है, आपके लिए वो जिंदगी आपकी आसान कर रहा है तो आप करें, मसला नहीं है. What I'm interested in psychoanalysis for is the fact that it gives an explanation for why these things happen. Like if you analyze why कुछ Tibetan bowl किसी को help कर रहा है, so there will be certain associations of words from their past or their present somewhere that is causing them to have this connection with the Tibetan healing technique, whatever.
Okay.
So it's I think it's a very convincing explanation of why these things happen. That's
Okay.
what I'm interested in.
Interesting. So your interest in psychoanalysis, was it an inspiring teacher? Was it a movie you saw? Was it a book you read?
Yeah, so not I think it was YouTube पे Slavoj Zizek के बहुत सारे clips होते थे. मैं बहुत fascinate होता था कि like who is this man, and he's a philosopher and he writes books and people read. Many professors admire his books, but he comes on the camera and he does these weird things and says these very strange, provocative things. I wanted to know why he says them. So I started reading up on what made him say those things.
So Monas, you've been teaching for many years, since 2008. How are students these days? Do you find, is there such a thing as an ideal student? Are students interested in what you're talking about, these ideas, psychoanalysis, और ये वो कोई interest है कि सिर्फ exams pass करने हैं और सिर्फ grades लेने हैं?
Yeah, I wanted to ask you the exact same thing. You were teaching back in America.
Yeah.
तुम्हारे students कैसे थे?
पहले मैंने पूछा था.
Okay. So students, I think एक तो चीज़ constant है. Every class has like 5% really good students, and then most of them are average, and then 50% of them don't know why they're there. तो एजुकेशन सिस्टम में इतना आपको क्लूलेस कर देते हैं कि आपको पता ही नहीं आप क्या सब्जेक्ट पढ़ रहे हैं, आपकी इंक्लिनेशन है भी कि नहीं, आप आगे क्या करना चाहते हैं. मोस्ट पीपल आर जस्ट स्टडिंग फॉर डिग्रीज, विच इज़ नॉट अ वेरी गुड रीज़न. यू कैन गेट डिग्रीज उसके अलावा भी, अपार्ट फ्रॉम दीज सब्जेक्ट्स एज वेल, यू कैन गेट एन ईजियर डिग्री समवेयर एल्स. सो या आई थिंक इट्स कॉन्स्टेंटली द सेम, अभी भी ऐसे ही है. आई जस्ट थिंक कि थोड़ा सा कल्चरल शिफ्ट आया है. People used to be a lot more aware of time and history and the changes that had happened. And I think वो थोड़ा सा, like sometimes really good students don't know enough about World War II, for example. और जो हम पढ़ा रहे होते हैं उसमें कॉन्टेक्स्ट देना पड़ता है. पहले इतना ज़्यादा नहीं है, कॉमन नॉलेज होती थी कि भाई वर्ल्ड वॉर 2 की बेसिक चीज़ें किसने स्टार्ट करी, क्या हुआ.
Right.
और इसी तरह छोटी छोटी चीज़ें, यू नो, they're more interested in the present, right? कि आजकल क्या हो रहा है और आजकल कैसे होता है. तो like they're more aware of us about the world today, but then it's a kind of a decontextualized awareness. They don't know why this world they're aware of, where it came from. उनको वो timeline थोड़ी सी missing है. तो I think they're just as smart, these people. बहुत creative है. और ये थोड़े से ज़्यादा आई डोंट नो, they're हार्ड वर्किंग, they're very excited, they're very creative, but for things that they think are important.
Right. I think in my experience, I felt एक तो I'd like to ask you that as well, कि मुझे लगता था कि टीचिंग जो है वो एक पूरी परफॉर्मेंस हो गई है, बिकॉज इट्स लाइक आपको एक एंटरटेनमेंट शो करना है. बिकॉज अगर आपने 5 मिनट भी 10 मिनट भी उनकी अटेंशन को नहीं वो किया तो somebody will start picking up the phone, somebody will start doing something else. So you create something, अगर आप कुछ लगाएं भी तो उसके ऊपर डिस्कशन भी है तो उसमें भी attention span I would see would be really less. And it would be exhausting to kind of, because obviously teaching is a whole semester and you would go at it class after class, and it would be exhausting to be constantly this entertainer and this performer. Do you feel teaching is like a performance?
I think yes, but I enjoy it.
Yeah, you enjoy
That's the only time I can perform in class.
So is there a hidden actor in Munis?
Maybe, but not a good one. But yeah, मज़ा आता है. Relevant चीज़ पे अच्छी टाइमिंग के साथ आप एक अच्छी सी लाइन मारें तो सब जाग जाते हैं. अच्छा जोक मार दें तो थोड़ा सा जाग जाते हैं. जहाँ तक इंटरेस्ट की बात है, वही अगेन, those most students aren't interested in the content you're teaching them. They don't see the relevance to what you're teaching them directly to the world at large. उनकी डिग्री से रेलिवेंट इस हद तक है कि भाई ये कोर्स पास करना है, डिग्री लेनी है.
तो मेरा तो ये हमेशा होता था, आई वुड ट्राई टू इंट्रोड्यूस सम क्रिएटिव राइटिंग, समथिंग जो, बिकॉज आई एम इंटरेस्टेड इन दैट. तो मेरा होता था कि कुछ मैं इंटरेस्टिंग बनाऊँ, अपीलिंग करूँ. एंड उसमें इट्स ऑलवेज लाइक दे कैन बी डिफ़िकल्ट, यू नो, दे कैन बी, कोई उसमें इंटरेस्ट एक दफ़ा ले लिया, उसके बाद वंस दे नो इट दे डोंट वांट टू रिपीट इट और दे डोंट वांट टू डू इट अगैन. इज देयर समथिंग विच इज़ योर नीश दैट you bring which is different from your subject, but you're like ye bhi, because I think once you mentioned you're interested in humor, you wanted to teach a class on humor. So is it something that you bring to the class which is maybe irrelevant but you want to talk about it because it's your thing?
I mean, I try not to. Irrelevant चीज़ ना हो, शायद कभी हो जाती हो गलती से, but I try to stick to the topic and related topics. But yeah, I think बैलेंस रखना ज़रूरी होता है between how much of the class you're enjoying and how much of it they're enjoying. अगर सिर्फ आप कर रहे हैं enjoy तो वो अच्छी क्लास नहीं है, और अगर सिर्फ वो कर रहे हैं इसका मतलब आप बहुत कुछ relevant पढ़ा नहीं रहे, बहुत सारी चीज़ें.
Okay. So moving on, I am curious about imagination and reality. Is this different? Is this same? Is the imaginative world a different world altogether, or do we exist in this world, or do we imagine this reality?
So again, इधर जो है ना, I remember मैं तुमसे पूछता था कि like why is art better than other things? The same question you asked me, and you always used to say यानी ना दुनिया होती है और उनके rules होते हैं और corporate world होता है और ये सब होता है, and then art is an escape from that, and it's a but this distinction, ये जो पिक्चर है कि एक आर्ट वर्ल्ड है जहाँ आपके पास इमेजिनेशन है, क्रिएटिविटी है, और दूसरा एक अगली सी दुनिया है. Isn't this a story, like the whole of these two things put together? Isn't this a very imaginatively, nicely distinguished image of the world, where you have, you know, the good and evil side by side at war with each other, and you're fighting for the good side and they're fighting for the bad side. Like
It sounds like a sci-fi movie.
right है ना?
Yeah.
तो इसीलिए I say कि reality is always a fiction. like आप उसको किस तरह भी डिवाइड कर दें, आप बोलें ये कहानियाँ हैं, ये असल चीज़ें हैं, ये सब बच्चों की चीज़ें हैं, ये बड़ों की चीज़ें हैं, ये आप ये क्या कर रहे हैं? you're telling a story. you're literally स्टोरी में जिस तरह कैरेक्टर्स डिवाइड होते हैं गुड और इवल में, हायर और लोअर में, और जो भी, ऑल रियलिटी इज़ फिक्शन. और अगर ज़्यादातर लोग आपसे अग्री करते हैं एंड दे एक्ट ऑन इट, तो वो रियलिटी लगने लगती है, वही कहानी, यू नो. सो कितनी सारी कहानियों पे हम इतनी हमें अफेक्ट करती हैं, इतनी रियल होती हैं हमारे लिए, बिकॉज वी आर नॉट द ओनली वंस बिलीविंग इन इट, राइट? लाइक सुपरस्टिशंस फॉर एग्जाम्पल, दे डोंट परहैप्स डिस्टर्ब अस सो मच बिकॉज वो सिर्फ हमारे होते हैं ना. बट जो हम सिर्फ हमारे नहीं हैं, जो सबके हैं, सब डर रहे हैं, तो आप भी साथ साथ डरने लगते हो. मुझे क्लास में आई ऑलवेज गिव दिस एग्जांपल ऑफ नज़र उतारना, ईवल आई. आप बोलो नहीं मैं नहीं मानता, बट देन यू नो कि कुछ बुरा हुआ एंड लाइक समवन सेज समथिंग, एंड देखा ये कह रहा था, ये हो जाता है, ये करा करो, उस तरह उसको उतारो नज़र को, देन यू स्टार्ट टू फील एंशियस कि व्हाट इफ, राइट? सो रियलिटी सीम्स टू बी,
I mean, nearby this topic about fiction and reality, there was a phase in my life where I was not able to enter fictional worlds. Like when I would read it, it would be very overwhelming, and I would feel कि ये बहुत intense है, or you know, because of personal experiences. And for some time I stopped reading literature, which is my passion, which is the thing I can't live without. But for some time, that fictional reality would become very real. It would become real. So it made me think of that. And then like slowly I trained my mind to understand that this is just a novel, or this is just, so ek bifurcation aa gayi, and it's just a novel. But then I think I lost the ability to enjoy it, or to be as immersed in it as I could earlier on. How do you experience literature, fictional realities, or in the world of cinema, do you feel that it is an immersive reality, or you're looking at it as a very objective कि अच्छा ये कहानी है, and or do you feel affected by things?
Yes, we do feel, I mean, of course, like everyone else, मैं भी affect होता हूँ, but what you said about you couldn't enjoy it anymore, you were enjoying it too much before, so you had to take a distance. And this is one of the things I learned from psychoanalysis. You can't enjoy something if you're fully immersed in it. There has to be a slight distance for you to enjoy something. अगर आप पूरी वही चीज़ में डूब जाएंगे तो वो बहुत ज़्यादा ओवरवेलमिंग हो जाती है. You need some sort of distance, and human beings create distance through words, ideas, words. आप उसको समझते हैं, आप टाइम लेते हैं, नरेट करते हैं, उसको कैटेगराइज करते हैं, उसको नाम देते हैं, उसकी पास्ट प्रेजेंट फ्यूचर सुनाते हैं अपने आप को, ये इसलिए शायद हुआ, ये इस वजह से. Once you have that narrative, you have that distance, now you can enjoy it. So only when you could separate the fictional from the real, you created that, then you could enjoy the fictional. Right?
Right.
So it's the same thing with me.
Okay. Okay. You're interested in philosophy, and there is this general idea that it's lost its traction, it's not as exciting. Do you think कि कोई philosophy का कोई purpose है, like उसको पढ़ने का या उसकी existence का होने का भी? Because students would say कि ये क्या है, इसका क्या मतलब है? Like what do you feel about that? I know that it's something close to you. You are a reader of philosophy.
तो एक आई थिंक कौन था, forget, there was a stoic philosopher, I forgot his name, कहता the purpose of philosophy is to help us deal with life, the difficult times of life. So that I think is one reason why a lot of people who find life in certain phases overwhelming, they're interested in philosophy. But for me, I think philosophy is more than a subject. It's not like you have arts and sciences and philosophy. Philosophy is something, again, like we are immersed in theory. That's already philosophy. हम लोग कुछ भी सिंस द बिगिनिंग, चाइल्डहुड से लेके अब तक हमने जो भी अपने आप को बताया है कि ये इस वजह से है, माँ बाप इसलिए ये कर रहे हैं, रियलिटी ये है, मैं बड़ा होकर ये बनूंगा, ये सब एक फिलॉसफी है. वी आर creating a picture to connect things. Is how does everything make sense?
Right.
So everyone's doing already has a philosophy, and I think most of us maybe who were not conscious of our philosophy, they're unconsciously already philosophers. So inevitably, I think philosophy is not a subject. वो हमारे साथ है. हम already जिस तरह sense बना रहे हैं दुनिया का, वो हमारी philosophy है.
So people are in denial.
No, I don't think they're ever aware of it. How can they deny something they're not aware of? If you make them aware of it, maybe then they can deny or question it or think about it critically.
So when I told my father that I was going to talk to a teacher of philosophy, तो he was like, नीचे ज़रूर उसको mention कर देना, वो आजकल नीचे बहुत पढ़ रहे हैं, I don't know, he's very inspired by it. तो वो Birth of Tragedy में there are two inspirations that he talks about. एक Apollo वाली होती है जो it's structured and rule and order and regulation, the higher education, higher rationality. और एक Dionysian होती है which is unconscious forces, dark roots, desire, passion. What would a psychoanalytic approach to these be? To these two inspirations? Is that making sense? How would psychoanalysis approach कि एक rational order है और एक unconscious, I guess psychoanalysis is more interested in the unconscious, or does it connect it back to rational?
So the way I understand psychoanalysis, उसमें ये है कि हम ये जो distinction करते हैं ना कि एक rational अलग है और irrational, एक wild सा substance कुछ है हमारे अंदर, id, वो अलग है. I think what Freud's idea was कि this irrational part of us has a logic behind it. तो जो एनालिसिस होता है वो हमारे वियर्ड सिम्टम्स का होता है ना. कोई किसी को नाइटमेयर आए जा रहा है और कोई अजीब सी चीज़ करता है, रुक नहीं पा रहा, कोई चीज़ चाहता रहता है वो कर नहीं पा रहा, एंड सो ऑन, एंड देयर इज़ नो एक्सप्लेनेशन व्हाई. ऑल द फैसिलिटीज़ आर देयर बट दे आर नॉट एबल टू एक्ट ऑन इट. तो फ्रॉइड्स आइडिया इज़ देयर इज़ अ लॉजिक बिहाइंड दिस इरेशनल सिम्टम. तो हम जो भी इरेशनल चीज़ें करते हैं, again there's this narrative, this logic. So the irrational is already rational in some sense, right?
Okay.
It's unconscious because we don't know why, what reason is there behind it. So it's an analysis of figuring out कि वो क्यों है.
Okay. This was Munis Azad, and I hope you enjoyed our show. Two's Company. Keep watching.